Okay, we're live? Yeah? Okay, awesome. Hey everyone. Super excited to be here. I was actually in front of around 400 leaders in North Norway speaking about Gen Z and millennials 2 3 weeks ago. And this is much more scary to be here and speak in front of my peers, other speakers, but I'm super excited. I actually did this presentation that we're going to show you today. It's my findings of while I'm writing my new book. I did it in front of 25 speakers in Norway, and the feedback was crazy. Everybody was just writing down, taking pictures. I was like, "Hey guys, I'm going to send you the slides." So today we're going to go straight to it. I don't know if you've been to some webinars before. I'm not a big fan where you go and it's like a long intro and blah blah. So today we're just going to cut through this chase and jump straight into it. Sounds okay? And yeah, guys, you just use the chat room. All right. Let's jump into it. Okay. So who is this next? We're gonna spend the next 45 minutes together. Who is this for? It's already for speakers who have experience on stage. You want more consistency, and you're looking to perhaps increase the fee, increase get better clients, and also work better with your agents. It's not for completely beginners. Beginners can pick up some good tips, but this is like for speakers who are already doing well and want to do much better. A bit about me, just very short. I've been doing, I had over 130 gigs, 250,000 euros invoiced, TEDx, that went really well. And I went on a journey recently where I was like, okay, I've been stuck at 3,000 euros for a very long time. And I knew that I could do six. I set that as a goal. So I figured out the best way to do that would be to learn from those who are already doing six or more. So I invited like really cool speakers in Norway for coffee. Like I had one with Halvor, was amazing. He's a really famous speaker in Norway. I wrote down like 10 pages. I was like, oh my god, this is so interesting. I met Solfrid. Solfrid did around 600,000 euros just last year as a speaker in the small country of Norway. I wrote down also like 10 pages, and I was like, wow, I'm learning so much here. I think other speakers could benefit from this too. So I decided to do 100 of these coffee meetings, but record them in a podcast format and put that into a book, the Speaker's Playbook. So far I've been learning so much, and I've been seeing my fee also increasing, and my thinking around all the aspects about the speaker business has completely changed. I met some cool speakers like Cecile, a famous stand-up comedian in Norwegian who speak also about culture at work. Nils, he's actually my manager in Norway. I interview a lot of agent managers in Europe to see how they think, what the market is right now. Uh, yeah, it's a lot of really cool speakers meeting. So far it's a podcast. The book is getting along, and today I'm going to share the findings I have found. So what I see is that those speakers who are really good at having good fees and big consistent books, they they don't look at speaking as just one thing. It's not like, oh, I have a presentation, I have a website, I hope I get booked. They look at it as a business, like a system, and they treat it as a business. So for example, what I developed based on the findings so far is what I call the speaker wheel. It consists of 16 parts. We're going to cover them today. So it all starts with positioning, like who pays you, why exactly you. It's a big competition. It's a very competitive landscape now. And then what changes after a talk, like very clear on ROI. We're going to cover today like what the elements of a really good presentation that stands out is. Visibility, like how can you send a strong signal and which platform works well. Hint, LinkedIn, we're going to go into that. Sales and outreach, I'm going to share my exact routine now for how I do the cold outreach, how I found the emails, how I reach out, and how I do the meetings. We're going to discuss how to better work with an agent. That's going to be a very interesting part. And we're going to look at the proven assets, like what's a good speaker reel, how's a good website look like, etc. So the thing is, like we see, like if one of this is off, it feels kind of like driving with a punctured tire. So perhaps you can be very good with your outreach, but then you go on stage and you don't exactly nail it and you don't get rebooked. Or you can be on stage and you have an awesome presentation, but you don't have a good way to collect the leads, for example, at the end. Again, you're missing out of a lot of opportunities. So it's about having all of this six in tip-top shape. Let's start with positioning. Who pays you? Right now, there's like, let's go. I want to give you some. These slides are really cool to kind of maybe get a new idea of where you can pitch yourself as a speaker to open up new speaking opportunities. So still, like, internal events is still the biggest one, at least for me. Like, for example, I just spoke at Norway's biggest pizza chain. They gathered all the leaders for the yearly leadership retreat. Still, internal events is one of the biggest one. Then you have associations. This is great if you want to travel and get exposure. So, for example, I spoke at HSMI. It's a travel and tourism association in Oslo. In the audience, around 300 leaders from different kind of companies. And when I walked off that stage, I already had a few requests on LinkedIn. Hey, Max, can you come and speak about this in our place? And the thing is that once you got into one association, they have offices all around Europe, or sometimes also in the US. So I started to reach out to other associations, like other like offices of HSMI and other associations I spoke at. And that's a very great way to go to a new country and get exposure in front of massive amount of different businesses with your talk. Government, this is like usually very pleasant customers. I spoke to Norway's biggest hospital, and it kind of like, it feels like getting your tax money back a bit earlier. They're usually very pleasant. Yeah, government, we read often in the news like, oh, municipalities are cutting down budgets and haven't had budgets, but for some reason, what we see is that for speakers, they still have really good budgets to have us in their internal leadership days. Then you have nonprofits, organizations, like not the best budgets, but again, the exposure here is huge. I met a lot of speakers during my podcast that went to some nonprofits or organizations where they almost did the talk for free. Well, they didn't frame it for free. They say like, hey, I can do the talk, but it will be a donation. So then, it looks good for them. They're not dumping the price. And then they get massive exposure in front of all the donors. Breakfast events, I really love this one. Just did one for farmer relations. They invited all of the customers for like a breakfast event. I was the only speaker. I walk off stage. I already have an email from AstraZeneca. Hey, can we talk? Breakfast events is amazing. I use a lot of energy now to pitch breakfast events to companies that could benefit from booking me, and use this to build a bridge to their customers. Webinars, I was really skeptical about this because just like now, I'm sitting here with you guys, and it's just like, okay, let me make it a bit bigger. I'm sitting with you, and I don't know the reaction. And my talks are based on a lot of humor, jokes, energy. So I was very skeptical to webinars, and then I did one for Tidskriften in Norway. I actually went to their office. They asked for that, and it went super nice. They had seen me live before. Then 1 year later, they called me like, "Hey Max, can we do another webinar? The same talk, just like for those who couldn't show up last time." I said, "Sure, but can I do it from my home?" So I woke up, had a coffee, did my talk, and before it was 10 o'clock, I already invoiced 3K, and I already had a coffee. So webinars, I'm also pitching in that for companies where this could be a good fit. So I hope you got some inspiration to maybe some new markets that you haven't, or in segments that you haven't tried to pitch to before. If you got any questions, by the way, just fire off in the chat, and I'll get back to you super fast. So why you? It's a very high competition. Like, all the agents I speak to in Europe say that they have never experienced this amount of people who are contacting potentially listed. So you really need to check out all your marketing profiles. That why you, like, does it show that you're unique? Do you have a unique style? Do you have a unique personality? If you speak about resilience and there's dozens of speakers speak about resilience, does a company understand, like, yes, that's why we should book you? And now you're communicating this super clearly with everyone you speak to. Then a big focus we see now is most speakers are really focusing on the ROI, because for businesses now, when they book in speakers, they really want to see, okay, hey, if we get you in for 20 minutes, how will that affect our company? Like, what will change after our talk? So are you focusing on ROI, or are you focusing like, hey, I want to share my story? If it's the last one, you're going to have some challenges, I think, in 2026. And because people don't book to hear a story, they book a change. They book someone who can solve a challenge that they have. For example, I'm very focused on like, hey, if you book me, you will recruit the best people, you reduce turnover, and remove friction across generations. Very focused on the ROI. Okay, then let's jump into the presentation and delivery. We see that the best speakers have a signature keynote. It's a keynote they're using again and again and again for many years. Sulfit, who I mentioned in the beginning, who has done over 600K last year. She's been doing kind of the same talk for 25 years in a small country, Norway, with 5 million people. It works. We call this the hero talk. The hero talk, it consists of a 20-minute talk where you do the speaking for around 20 minutes, but you can easily adjust it to 30 or 45, and with different tools and interactions. So for example, you can have like 20 minutes is you speaking, 10 minutes can be interaction with audience, 5 minutes can be digital tools like a word cloud or a quiz. We're going to show some cool digital tools for audience interaction in a second. The 20-10-5 model. A good sign when you make a presentation is like when you go off stage, the another speaker come up to you and be like, "Hey, who made your slides? They're really awesome." If you're getting that question, your presentation is badass. If not, maybe you should look a bit on design. And when we make a design, we also have the philosophy, make every slide count. We want to create this, this like wow effect, like when people are like, whoa, that looks sexy. For example, I'm working with a speaker now, and he uses the word decision laundering, like how leaders, do decision laundering. So most of us, we would open up something, open up Canva, PowerPoint, Keynote, and we would just, write decision laundering. But what we can do is that we can spice it up a bit. For example, we can, add some GIF, add some movements, make it a bit more fun for the audience to watch. Or we can take it up a notch. We can think like, decision laundering, what can we do with that? We can just make it a bit more playful and fun, and just make it pleasant for the audience. Just make a bit more wow. What we also can do is like while you're on stage and Stan is talking about decision laundering, we can make it up a notch. We can make some subtle movements just to make it a little bit alive. Unfortunately, most speakers just open up Keynote, they write the word, and they go for it. So I also want to share like 5 structures. Often when I work with speakers when they want to craft their speech, speakers who have been doing this for many, many years, we go back to the drawing board and we look at structures. So for example, like one that I like a lot is like the 7-trend setup. It can be 7 trends, 7 tips. You can also do like, okay, well, of course, 5 tips or etc., but use the magic numbers 3, 5, 7, 11, right? So this works really well. I use this for one of my talks, Gen Z in communication. Then you have the 3-chapter narrative, like, hey, the introduction, then chapter 2, millennials, chapter 3, Gen Z, very story-driven and very easy to expand into a workshop. Then we have the problem mistake solution. By the way, this is one that I have for Gen Z now. I have like introduction, I do Gen Z recruitment, Gen Z leadership, and then wrap up. Yeah, problem mistake, like, hey, what's the problem right now? For example, like problem right now is like businesses can't adapt to AI fast enough, common mistakes they do when they introduce AI, and then solution, hey, this is how you as a leader can make an AI first business. Boom, very, very, it feels like a TED. Before and after, hey, this is how we used to do it before, this is a new way, and this is how you can adapt that shift to not be behind. Then if you're a coach, a really great model is, we call it the action formula. If you have something like you develop that, just like I did with the speaker wheel, this works really well. And the reason that speakers who have a very high fee are so successful is because they do the speech over and over again. They don't do like a new speech for every client. So imagine like I was in London a few years ago and I watched The Phantom of the Opera, one of my favorite musicals. And if I bring my co-founder Jordi to London and I want to show him this, I'm going to expect exactly the same actors. I'm going to expect the exactly same music and the exactly same setup because I want to show him that. And that's the same thing with the hero talk. It's a talk you are getting famous for and that people want to bring into their organizations. For example, 3 years ago, I had a breakfast event at Scandic in Oslo. And it was for HR people in Oslo. And 3 years later, Aina, who was there, calls me and like, hey, Max, I saw you 3 years ago. Can you do that talk for us? We have a Gen Z as a theme this year. And she asked me that I do it exactly the same as last time. Clear prompts and outcomes. One good opening that I start to use, I've been every speaker that I interview for my podcast, I always ask, how do you open your talk and how do you close it? And also my manager needs help with this. I really like it. So to get the audience engaged, what I do when I go on stage is I say, like, for example, like, hey, I spoke to Mariana, and she says, we have some challenge here about friction between generations. We're going to talk about that today and how we can reduce it. And I'm so excited to be here. It shows that I'm here. I understand the problem of my audience, and we are going to solve it right now. Very cool way to start a talk. Stories that create belief. Arman Westad, really close friend of mine, speaker of the year last year in Norway, no, 2024, 2 years ago in Norway. We just did a masterclass with him about storytelling. We're going to send this out. I watched this like around 11 to 12 times. It's insane. And it really made me change the way I do storytelling. We're going to send it for free out to everyone. He always says, like, think about it. Last time you were on stage, did you make people laugh? Cecile, the stand-up comedian I interviewed, she said, like, a good tip was go back to your presentation, find the most boring slides. That's where you start to add laughter. So did you make someone laugh? Did you maybe make someone cry? Or did you make someone shocked? Like, did they were like, whoa, what was that? And best case, did you do all three? So that's a really good way to, like, you really need to move the audience. So if you're not bringing any of these reactions, or at least two, you really need to go back to the drawing board. Afford time and presence, like never go over time. I know a speaker who was booked for five gigs in the same company. After 3 gigs, she got canceled because she went over time. So we really can't go over time. A trick I do here is, if I have 25 minutes on stage, I practice those 24. Then I have some bonus slides. So I do at the end, like, hey, any questions? And if not any questions and I'm still on 24 minutes, I'd be like, okay, cool. By the way, do you really just want to share this one with you? And I fill up the last minute, everybody's happy, but never ever go over time. Audience engagement, this is becoming a big thing now. So I was on a retreat with 25 speakers in Norway, really amazing speakers 2 years ago. And we were in a cabin arranged by my agency, Tallison, those who represent me. And Eric had a really cool talk about audience engagement. And he introduced me to Slido. And this completely changed the way I do presentations. So every time now I do a talk, I always use Slido to engage with the audience. I like it because you don't need to download anything, and it's just so easy to use. It's so interactive. So for example, in Slido, there's like, I use like word cloud. So for example, I go on stage and I ask the audience, hey, what do you think about Gen Z? And they scan the QR code, and some people say like, oh, tech savvy, energetic. Some people say like lazy, entitled. And then that gives me like a feeling of what we're working on in the room. I also have a quiz about Gen Z slang, so I use Slido a lot. So that's the presentation aspect. Interactive, wow design of the slides, and use powerful stories that make people laugh, shock, or cry, preferably all three. Visibility, let's look at that. It's still like LinkedIn that is the king. Yes, reach been down after AI and all these AI posts and everything, AI generated posts, but still the best speakers who are very highly booked, they use LinkedIn. So you want to signal clarity. If someone goes to your LinkedIn or your website or email signature, can they in like 30 seconds really understand what you are doing? Authority content, like what should we post on LinkedIn? So here you should ask your question, like, is it clear that you are an expert on this field? For example, like you can write like, hey, I did this research. In my case, I interviewed 125 Gen Zs in Nordic, and I can write about that. Or like, after interviewing top 20 CEOs, I found this and this. Or studying 50 books about negotiation, this is what I found. So try to use this kind of post because it really builds your expertise and authority. You can also borrow credibility. Like, for example, I just interviewed the VP of strategy at a big company. This is what they're telling me about this and this. And this pattern, like LinkedIn is all about consistency. It's all about being there. Yes, it can be a bit draining energy-wise, but the speakers I interviewed from podcasts, those who are really in demand, they're kicking ass on LinkedIn. It takes time. Sales and outreach. This is what I do. Still, for direct, what most speakers tell me is good old email and phone. It's also do myself, and I want to show you my routine. So Monday, I find 10 companies or conferences I can really help. I reach out over email and LinkedIn, and then I use Google and deep search function ChatGPT. The deep search function, it looks like this, research. I think it came a new version now that calls deep thinking. I asked them, hey, find HR conference, include phone, email, data, and contact. Then ChatGPT spits out this, which usually the numbers actually work, and the emails. And then I also have Apollo for LinkedIn in case they don't have the email. So then I take this, I put them into my CRM. And every week I contact 10 leads. So Monday I add them on LinkedIn, Monday I send them email, and Friday I do the phone call. The emails look like this. Like I'm like, hey, Chena Patrick. So my goal here is every email should feel like personal. It should feel like it's not like a mass email that I blast out to everyone. So for example, here, like I wrote in Swedish, Chena Patrick. Espresso House is like a Swedish Starbucks. And I say like, hey, I just talked to Pizza Bakken, same industry, and I just asked like, hey, are you planning any leadership gatherings? Have you started to look at speaker lineup? I'm not trying to sell myself. And then I write, but the way I used to have a coffee subscription here in Norway, loved it. Make it like really, really personal. Friday, I call those who had replied, and my call is so simple. I'm like, hey, Max here. I sent an email on Monday. Did you get it? Super easy to open up the conversation. And in my calls, I always sell the meeting. I never sell myself for my talk. I need to get the meeting, and as you guys know, like if you get the meeting, usually you also get you get the sale. So another amazing thing that works for me is like I use Aimfox, Apollo, and content. So how this looks like in practice. Each month I find 700, 800 leads on Apollo. I upload them to something called Aimfox. Aimfox is connected to my LinkedIn. So I find that, for example, like 800 HR leaders in the industry that I speak well at. And then Aimfox just starts to send connection requests to these HR leaders. And I send a very short message that is not salesy. And this creates really momentum. So, and this also leads to meetings. And once I connect, with my target audience on LinkedIn, it's really good to have like the right type of content. So again, content that builds authority, you build connections, and through that, it's a really nice way to create that momentum. Booking conversations, like during the meeting, I always do like 90% about them. Like, what problems do we have? Why are we having this talk? Why are you considering to book me? What do you want to solve? And then there's 10% about me. I try to have it all about them to find out why are they interested in booking me. Follow up the close, like always be on top but not pushy. I used to be like, hey, call them maybe 2 weeks after the meeting because I know they're considering other speakers as well, and just be like, hey, I'm really excited about this. Maybe we can do some giveaway, or I try to throw some ideas to them. And I show them that I want to help, and I show them I want to take this gig seriously. Because remember, like again, they're considering maybe 6 to 10 speakers for a slot, so we just need to really stand out. And I lost a big gig because I was too passive. There was a conference, they considered 2 speakers. I know the other speaker, and I knew exactly for these conferences, I would probably be a better match. But I just like stayed passive. I didn't contact them. And later they chose the other speaker, and I called my agent. I was like, hey, if I did the meeting, do you think they would choose me? And he's like, yeah, probably. So I lost the gig recently, and yeah, that just really sucks. Pricing, like if you look at Europe, like still like 2 to 5K average good speaker, 5 to 9K celebrity bestseller or full-time speaker, up and coming 1 to 2. So most speakers in Europe 2 to 5. I'm trying to get a gig now in the States where it's like from 10, but in Europe we are like, yeah, very good average speaker, 5K in most countries. Okay, let's look a bit about agents and scale. See here. So work of agents, like in 2023, I received a prize from Tallison, had a 523 increase among 700 speakers. So I was the one with the highest growth in bookings. And yeah, just this year, Tallison already secured 25K for me. Nils is amazing. They sold me as crazy. And the thing is, like, let's first look at get an agent. Bring them business. If you want to scale into a new country, you should really try to just like first find a gig yourself and then bring it to them. Then I know, like, for example, like a good email reach out would be like this. Hey, I know most speakers used to reach out asking to be put on the list. That's what I'm doing here. I just got booked to this in this event, 1.5K talk, thinking for a while that's time to bring an agent. This feels like a natural place to start. I'd love for you to handle the final details and take the cut. So what we want to do is, like, if you bring business, you signal to an agent that, hey, you're serious and you want to build a business together. A lot of agents now get requests, hey, I want to tell my story. I want you to sell me. Most agents work on purely commission. So for them to, like, think about it, for them to start to, spend time on you, they're taking a huge risk. So they need to see that you're in demand. Bringing demand is just really, really work. I know a lot of top speakers in Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and when they scale to new countries, they're doing exactly the same thing. Even if they are super in demand in one country, they go to, for example, UK, London, they do the cold calling, email, they sell themselves, they get the gig, and then they take it to an agency. Exclusivity or not, a lot of thoughts about this. I prefer to go with one agency and build a really good partnership with them to make it strong. It's kind of like building a business together. That works really well. Either way, I constantly bring them business and they will start to push you. How often should you meet your agent? Just discussed this with Niels in my podcast, and the best thing is like 4 times a year. 4 times a year, but do it strategically. Like sit down with them, ask them about like, hey, what do you need from me to sell me better? Maybe bring them some opportunities, create a list of gigs that you want to be at. So use those meetings strategically. So long-term stay strategy, niche down, fewer markets is always better than going too wide. And it's better to really be well known in one industry than just try to go all over. And a lot of speakers, when they try to scale all over Europe, they stress out because scaling with many agents, it's a lot of work. So better go into new markets, get that market right, and then scale to another one. Lastly, proven assets like speaker reel. We analyze over 500 speaker reels of top speakers and talk to agents like what should the speaker reel have in order to the conference to be easily, in order to be an easily booked speaker. And think about it, like I just got a gig in June, and this company, they saw my landing page on my agency website. They saw the speaker reel and they booked me. No meetings, nothing. So speaker reel can like make all the difference. 1 to 5 2 minutes length. It's 5 blocks that we're looking at here of what it consists of. So first, opening hook, what is the challenge today? Why are we like even considering this speech? Why you? Like, hey, I've been working with this for many years. I know this. The promise of your talk. What will the ROI be? Proof that it works. What are people saying who listen to it? And your signature style. Like, I'm funny on stage, or I'm energetic on stage, etc. Then like, hey, this is like interesting. Let's grab a coffee and talk. Website and one pager, just make it super simple. Like, for example, like I really love this one for Sylvie here. Let's have a look. So yeah, very simple, like straight to the speaker reel. Why I should book you, what they're getting out of it, about Sylvie, what people say, and boom. Very, very straight to the point. If we look at, I can also just share, for example, like, okay, on mine, on the first sentence, helping companies recruit, lead, and communicate with Gen Z through powerful keynote workshop. Very, very simple, straight to the point. All right. Cool, guys. This is so fun. Like, it's really interesting to share all of this really, really cool insights. So media kit, just having like the speaker bio, photo, social media. Like the speaker bio, again, should focus on the outcome of your talk, not about your story. Have a cool headshot. I'm just kidding. Like, I'm trying to be a bit more Gen Z since I'm getting older. But yeah, have a good headshot. That makes all the difference when the company is going to make the marketing material for the event, preferably on stage, or you just smiling, but make it professional. Clear keynote description. Again, focus on the value, focus on why you. And yeah, that is the 6 aspects of having a very solid speaking business, like what we call the speaker wheel framework. And congrats, you're now ahead of majority of speakers. So you know everything, now that a successful speaker needs to, besides just being on stage and have an awesome talk. And you can absolutely take everything you've seen today and do it yourself. That was kind of the goal of this webinar, is to provide the value and insights so you can go in. It's not that hard to set up aim fox and all things. So just, you can go crazy. So you can do it on your own, and you have like 2 ways of doing it. One is learn everything and figure it out as you go. You start learning marketing, graphic design, content creation. I tried this. It's really hard to master graphic design, especially. It drains your money and focus. Like, that's the thing, like learning, like usually none of the speakers are professional designers, or you're not a professional marketer. So you can also go with the second option, hire multiple agencies and freelancers and manage everything yourself. Once it's running, you can finally focus on what matters, like practice your talk, but you have to hire, lead, and try out a lot of different talent before you nail it. On top of that, I found it was extremely hard to find professionals who really understand the speaker market, to understand how to make engaging presentations, to understand how to make engaging speakers for speakers. So neither option actually frees you from the real work. Like, we should focus on being on stage and doing the right outreach and talking to clients. So the question is not if you can do it. The question is whatever doing yourself is the best use of your time and money. And I know this because I struggled with this too. like when I started to do this journey going from 3 to 6K, I tried to do first everything myself, and it was a bit stressful. Then what I needed, I just needed like a team that really understands the speaker market, like knows how to make sure every aspect of the speaker wheel, as so to say, is perfect. So I ended up actually hiring a really cool graphic designer, a really cool marketer, a really cool content creator, and that became kind of like a boutique creative studio, kind of by accident, because my slides and my presence online became much better. And I started to get like other speakers that I knew who started to tap into this team, and just I kind of accidentally became a creative studio. So, for example, like one speaker I worked with, really were like super cool, like world champion in boxing. We worked on presentation delivery, made a world class presentation, and we set up like a nice funnel for sales and outreach with positioning. Uh, Again, really beautiful presentation on stage. We narrowed down from 5 ages to one, so we worked on the strategy. Also, Atle, Formula One champion in Norway and TV celebrity. I was really, really happy because when he won Speaker of the Year, I was one of the few person he mentioned in his thank you speech. And again, we're making some really cool slides from many speakers, really good testimonials on this one. So yeah, I'm not going to go into detail. I'm going to send out the slides afterwards anyway. But I see that almost the pattern is always the same. Most speakers are great on stage. They're just missing like one or more slices of the speaker wheel to just have a really, really smooth flowing business. So today we decided to do like a 100% risk-free offer, like 0% offer for those who tune in today. The speaker wheel audit. It's a free strategy call where we audit your speaking business and find your bottlenecks, and we craft a custom plan for you that you can take, execute, and go crazy with. You walk away with clarity of what's slowing you down, 2-3 moves that you will create fast growth, and we will also do a tailored offer from us in case you just want to have my awesome team to do it for you. What we most often help professional sales speakers with is talk packaging and positioning, the website. We redesigned the deck and structure. I'm doing that with a few speakers now. We can help them create a new speaker reel, LinkedIn presence, and strategy to work better with agents and scale into new markets. So who's this for? You're already getting paid maybe 3 to 9K. You want more consistency, higher fees, enter new markets, and you want to be best on stage. You want to be that speaker that goes on stage and other speakers say like, wow, that was insane. Who did your slides? Like, who are you working with? If you book a call today, we also have a free gift. As this, a lot of people have used this. It's a full LinkedIn overhaul. So you get a complete LinkedIn upgrade. We're going to look through your profile. We're going to come with suggestions for text, and we're also going to design a brand new premium speaking banner. We've done this for the best speakers out there, like Arman, Atle, Vetle. I think we're soon 25, 30 banners out. It's crazy. So yeah, you can click the button below and book a call, super free, and you also get the banner. How to claim your free strategy? Just go in and go to the calendar, and you will see the button, choose a time, and it should be booked. And remember, information of what you will move forward in speaking business is actually the implementation. So, guys, that was really fun. Really fun. Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, do we have any questions? Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, you can just see in the chat. If anyone have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Thank you for your time and listening in. This was super, super exciting. Sorry about my voice. I've been having this upper respiratory virus last few days, and it's my biggest fear, I think, as a speaker, is to actually lose my voice. And yeah, what to do then if you have a talk next day and you just can't go because you are voiceless? Yeah, biggest fear by far. Okay, if no one did not, yeah, thanks. Have a nice evening, Daria. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a nice evening too. And yeah, if you want a coffee, book it in. Like worst case, you walk out with some tips and a fun coffee. Best case, we can perhaps pimp some of your stuff up at your speaking business. But Daria, thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate that. Amazing. Hmm. Yeah, super. Okay, then I'm actually traveling from the States to Japan, and it's like 2 o'clock at night here. So I think I think I'll go to bed soon. When we planned this webinar, I'm so bad with time differences. I thought like, okay, 7 o'clock in Europe. How late can that be here? And it turned out it was actually much more later than I thought. All right, cool. But then, yeah, we're going. Yeah, I'm here with my co-founder Jordi. I think we're going to bed, Jordi. Yeah, nice, cool.